I just think that one of the biggest trends is going to be that people need to start hyper specializing. They need to be really known for something.
Hi, I'm Brad. Welcome to another episode of Coffee for Closers. In today's episode, we're talking about the contracting business. And we're going deep into the jungle to interview a great guest today. But before that, let's roll the intro. Hi, I'm Brad. Welcome to another episode of Coffee for Closers. Today's guest is Jason De Luca, Managing Director of Smart Partners. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little about Smart Partners. What is it? What do you guys do?
Okay, so essentially, Smart Partners is an outsourcing and temp staffing business. We focus primarily on project management, business analysts, and we do have a perm license and we do some perm recruitment, but it's about 20% of our business. But most of the stuff we do is within IT, so bilingual IT positions.
And the big question, what's up with the cats?
So I'm a cat person. I got 2 cats at home. I love tigers. Eye of the Tiger, Rocky, that sort of thing. And I just decided that when I'm starting my own business, I'm going to do exactly as I want. And so I was able to get a tiger logo. So it's just kind of a thing. I've always liked it. It's just kind of the hungry spirit and stuff like that. I've always been a thing with me. So.
Awesome, great. And I mean, how did you actually get into the contracting business?
So originally, I got my first job out of graduate school at a company called Panache. Not very many people are going to know that company. You have to be here a long time to know that company. But that was back way in the Wild Wild West days when most people didn't even have licenses to do recruitment and stuff. And I got brought over by a really amazing guy named Mark Smith to go into the temp staffing business under him. And then I worked there for a couple of years, and then he left to start Skill House. And then
Gotcha.
I think you met Paul before. We went over and started Skill House. And then, just after a couple of years, I kind of wanted to focus on different stuff, and I wanted to give it a go on my own and start up my own business.
Awesome.
I did some contracting in the beginning with Smart Partners, but to be honest, the way I survived was just by teaching my competitors about recruitment in the staffing business, because that was the quickest way to earn revenue and pay the bills. And so even though I've got, the staffing business and the licenses
Yep.
and all the people and stuff, I still like to do the training and the coaching and stuff like that because it's just really fun. I really love the business. I really like helping people out. And it's really rewarding to have someone come up to you and says, I did a seminar with you, 3 or 4 years ago, and now we just
Yep.
bought a new house. We got this, we got that, based on some of the stuff that you helped me with. So for me, that's a big motivator. That's why I still kind of do it, even though I really don't have to.
Great,
Yeah.
okay. And I mean, what is the biggest difference between the contracting business and the perm business?
What's the biggest difference between night and day? So we talked about this the other day, right? So,
Yep.
I mean, the entire concept of time is different, right?
Yep.
So the perm business, you can get away with a lot of stuff that you can't get away with in the contracting business, right? The contracting business is an emotional business. We talked about this.
Yep.
And it's an early business. So, I'll work with some clients who all have friends and stuff, and they'll talk about they're getting in at 9:30 because there's flex time and stuff. If you're in the contracting business and you're not in your desk at 8, you're losing out to everyone else. And sometimes clients will ask me, well, why do you have to get there so early? Well, if your staff start calling in sick and you're the last one to know, then you're out, right? So that's just kind of some of the stuff there. I mean, the sales cycle is totally different.
Right.
Request goes out. If you're not there at the desk hitting up the candidates and stuff who might currently be off contract, you sometimes have got 20 or 30 minutes to be the person to get them, to put them into the process. I know with perm, sometimes that happens as well, but the contracting business is just completely normal. I mean, it's, you've got minutes to reach out to your network and stuff, your community of people to do that. I mean, that's a big question, but I mean, the forecasting and taking care of the staff once they're there on site. The other big difference is that it's a much more intimate relationship with your customer. So I'm not bashing perm. A little bit I will. But it's really, they'll send someone in, that's it. They might follow up maybe 6 months later and stuff like
Right,
that. But
right.
with the contract business, you have to basically do the exact same sales cycle of the perm people. And then when your person gets the job, then you have to do, then you do the bi-weekly or the monthly aftercare. And that's where you learn about the environment. That's where you get all this information. That's where you can expand your crew of people and stuff.
I think that's a good point that you mentioned. Like, this business is very emotional. You have to be a lot more hands-on, I think, and watch through the
Yeah,
process.
I mean, it's emotional. I get emotional, as you can tell. But
the question is it profitable? I mean, is it more profitable than the perm business, or can it be, with all that work involved?
I don't know. Why don't you ask some of the MDs that are watching this video, how much are you going to be billing in October? ... Right? You should add a dot at the bottom. But with the perm business, if you've got a 6-month contract with someone, you can generally, okay, this is how much revenue, this is how much margin we're going to get protracted out to that. The other thing too, now with the 3-year rule and some of these new regulations and stuff that have come in, a lot of clients are just going to go ahead and convert people. Well, that's great. So you've had your margin now for 8, 9, 10, 12 months. And then now you're going to get a nice 30% placement fee on top of that. So a contracting business, I can't imagine recruiters not just going to the trouble just to get it, even if it's just for the temp to perm. Right. You might have someone at final stage and the client's a little bit hesitant. Say, look, why don't we just put them on for 3 or 6 months, then you can convert them.
Yep.
It doesn't hurt. It's a lot less risk for everybody and stuff. And I found that alone, we'll do a full install with a customer. And they'll only use it for passive recruitment. They say, no, we never post a job. It's only there for everyone in the office to use if the client says we want to check him or her out for 2 months. And it's like, okay, fine, we'll hook them up, put them on our benefits and stuff, do a short-term contract, and then do a conversion.
Okay. And I mean, do you see that trend? I mean, contracting versus perm versus RPO versus managed search. I mean, where do you see kind of the market?
Well, I mean, that's the
going?
real consulting, right? And again, I don't want to keep bashing perm recruiters, but I mean, there's a counseling part of the consulting business, right? And when you're on site with people, and we talked about this before as I got super emotional, this is people's families, right? People have families, they get sick, a kid gets sick. I mean, it's just all you have to be sensitive to that. Right. And you have to solve problems that happen at the work site. So-and-so's having an issue with their boss, or they're having an issue with someone that sits next to them. You've got to be able to sit down and get in the middle of it and actually do some of the consulting stuff, which is what's the desired outcome of the client in this situation, and how am I going to solve something with that? Generally speaking, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but with perm recruiters, it's like, every solution they have is a hammer, and guess what? Every problem looks like a nail, right? And it's like they can't think, that there's no latitude of thought, right? But with the contracting business, you got to think of that stuff. Okay, do we give them a couple of days off? We try to move. You can come up with some kind of solutions for clients. I think.
Well, and actually, you're delivering a lot more service to the client, which hopefully at the end of the day they actually respect.
Which is
and
funny.
appreciate.
Which gets us into what we talked about before, which is, why do you take perm recruiters who failed as perm recruiters and say, throw them in contract? It's like, it should be the other way around. It should be your top billing contract recruiter. You should be thinking, look, we're going to let her or him, let them kind of build up their career for like another 2 year, like give them a good 2-3 year career in the contracting business. Then move them over to perm, and they will crush it.
Right.
Because they've got the taxes, they know about contracts and hiring and firing. They're just a much more, I don't want to say sophisticated, but I will. They're just they have a more sophisticated kind of sense of presence in front of clients. Right. Because they've been doing real HR for 2 to 3 years before they move into a perm recruiter job.
One of the things that you mentioned when we spoke earlier is the type of people that do well on the contracting side. And you said a lot of times, people with no recruiting experience actually are the best contracting recruiters. Why is that?
I think first and foremost, you have to hire people who care. That's it. Yep. This is not a hustle. This is not a way to cheat people. You know what I mean? It's like, I've worked with some contract recruiters and stuff, and they're all just about their own individual margin. And the funny thing is that they didn't realize that the contractors know that, right? But you find out that if you honestly, we're not, you don't have to be friends with your contractors, but you can be friendly, right? No, you don't have to be at their house every Saturday for a barbecue, But you can care about their family enough to know, like, look, I know something's going on with this family and stuff. I'm actually gonna, make an extra call this week just to see that he or she is okay and stuff. There has to be that kind of natural warmth and stuff as a human being, because again, these people are these dispatch workers and stuff are on your benefits and social insurance, they're on your benefits program and stuff, right? So they're part of your business. And it always shocks me to see that there's that complete contrast. Like they don't even consider them, you know what I mean? That they're actually working at your business.
Where do you see, the recruiting industry growing? I mean, like there's contracting, there's the perm obviously, and RPO, managed search, like training also as well. Like where do you see the trend going?
I just think that one of the biggest trends is going to be that people need to start hyper specializing. They need to be really known for something.
Yeah.
Because if you're known for like, well, we're a recruitment business and we pretty much do everything, you're going to get mowed over by everybody else.
Right.
I think hyper specialization is going to be the way to go. But hyper specializing with a massive client base.
Right.
Because unfortunately with people, they somewhat specialize with 2 or 3 clients, and that's not a wide client base.
Right.
People might be thinking, well, what would you consider a wide client base, Jason? So let me tell you, if you're in perm, you should have 15 to 20 clients that you're getting orders from.
Right.
And on the contracting side, about the same. That's a great environment, a great ecosystem of lots of commerce and stuff going on. But most of the people watching the video, they're thinking of their own list. There's like 4 names on it. It needs to be a lot bigger than that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of the other people that might be watching this video might be interested in actually getting into recruiting.
Yep.
And when we spoke before, you mentioned that
do contract.
Some of the best people
do contract.
Ton contract.
Exactly. And so like if like someone will come in and they'll say, oh, this guy or this lady or this young lady is a total hot shot.
Yep.
I'm saying if you have a contract division, put them in the contract business. And the reason for that is that they learn the most.
Yep.
They learn about taxes, maternity leave, hiring, firing, staff problems, and all this other stuff. And if you think that person has a longer term, larger role within your organization, let them get buried in those details and then still have to close deals and have a staff quit and have that weird phone call on a Sunday night saying, I'm not going to work tomorrow and I'm out, bang, and they're not picking up the phone. Because I think the really good recruitment leaders are people that got scars. And you get a lot more scars in the contracting business.
Well, and you also see, we mentioned this before, is contractors see, on the contracting business, they see a P&L. Whereas on the perm side,
right?
you actually don't.
You're running a business on your desk.
Right.
It's like, I've got this many people out, this is my margins, this is the cost, this is what's coming in. And again, they're doing taxes, they understand the pension, they're understanding how much of this is actually going to be somebody's in-hand cash or teidori at the end of the month. So do that for 2 to 3 years, and then
that's huge. Yeah.
Once, they're just a roving, they're just a monster at that stage. Let them hand their desk over to someone else, and they can go do the perm stuff. They will roll over perm people because the sense of urgency is different.
Yep.
The way you ask questions are different. Your EQ level is totally different with clients, and because you've been inside of 15 or 20 different clients and seen the work location and stuff like that, you can just sit down and just learn so much more about an environment when you've got 15, 20 people on site with a particular client, right? So.
Awesome. Well, on the other side of that, how about, is it realistic for perm recruiters to go over to the contracting business? And what advice would you give if that's actually relevant?
I would say if you're a manager running a team and you have someone who can't sell perm, that's probably a bad idea.
Get out of the business altogether.
If they're too slow and they can't figure out the perm side, then you're going to it's like, he can't really run at all. So we're going to make him sprint. Right? So don't do that. I'm not disrespecting people that do talent acquisition and do RPO stuff. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that might be a safer option for someone. Maybe they're not as aggressive on that side, but they're actually good with the client relationship and they do like the perm aspect of it. That's fine. But generally speaking, we were talking about this, what makes good contract recruiters and stuff. If you got someone who's bright, they think and they care, that's what you need. And then you can teach them the contracts and all that other stuff. But it's really that caring aspect, I think, which makes them successful. Yeah. So.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. And what type of people are you looking for smart partners?
Loyal,
That helps.
Yeah, that helps. People who are loyal and care, because I've been training people for 12 years now, so I have absolutely no hesitation that I can't work with someone to train them up. But you can't train someone to care.
True.
Right? And contractors, especially when you're working with contractors and these people are, making 18, 20 million yen year salaries and stuff, they can meet someone for 2 seconds and know you're a greasy liar. You're never going to come visit me on site. You're just trying to bang me into this contract, never going to see me again. You don't care about me or about my family. You just want the margin. They know, they can pick up on that kind of stuff. So people that they're loyal to the cause and that they care and they want to help people, I think.
Awesome.
Happy to talk to those people.
Great stuff.
Yep.
Jason, thanks for your time today. It's always
Thanks
a
for
pleasure.
having me.
Thanks for watching. I'm Brad. This is Jason. Stay tuned for more great content from Coffee for Closers.